This summer, soccer is here, and so are the watch parties. And Uber Eats has your game day essentials covered with 30% off orders from Aldi, Kroger, and Dollar General. Everything you need to keep your crowd happy, delivered straight to your door. Chips, dips, fresh ingredients, and more. Order in so you can lock in for the games. 30% off your grocery order, only on Uber Eats for a limited time.
Before we begin, quick disclaimer. Nothing in this episode should be considered investment advice. Results discussed have not been independently vetted. Any claims made by the guests have not been verified. The content is for educational purposes only. Views expressed by the guests do not reflect those of the host or this show. If you're like most high-income professionals, you've probably asked yourself some version of this question. I'm making more money than I ever imagined, so why doesn't it feel like I'm any freer? Maybe your income has grown every year, but so have your responsibilities. The mortgage got bigger, the investments became more complicated, the calendar filled up. And somewhere along the way, financial success quietly became another full-time obligation. Most people think the solution is simply to earn more, another promotion, practice, business, investment property. But what if you're solving the wrong problem? What if financial freedom isn't about maximizing your return on investment, but maximizing your return on life? That's exactly what today's guest, Dani Lynn Robinson, challenges. She argues that many high earners actually build what she calls a high-income prison, where their wealth depends entirely on their ability to keep working. Perhaps even more surprising, she explains why so many passive investments become second jobs, why chasing the highest returns often creates the most stress, and why the real goal isn't becoming richer, it's making work optional. So whether you invest in real estate or not, this conversation isn't about apartments or syndications. It's about designing a financial life that gives you more choices, more control over your time, and ultimately more freedom. As you listen, I want you to keep one question in the back of your mind. Are you building wealth or are you building freedom? Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Financial Freedom Podcast. Today is on the show to discuss why B-Class Multifamily real estate holds up in uncertain markets and why passive turnkey investing often becomes a second job and what she calls return on life. She's founder of Freedom Family Investments and a longtime real estate operator. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris.
Briefly introduce yourself and we'll dive into the questions.
Absolutely. I'm Dani Lynn Robinson. I own Freedom Family Investments, and I am passionate about real estate. I got into it in 2008. It was a tough year, but I had mentors, and it really taught me how to navigate real estate and the path forward. It's been 25 years in the financial services area, 18 years in real estate.
Are you focused on helping investors acquire their own properties to become landlords or syndications? Describe what your process is.
I believe in passive investing, and here's why. I am an active investor. I have been active investing since 2008. We built a turnkey real estate business. I thought it was allowing me to bring other high net worth people along for the ride as I built wealth. I was buying properties, renovating the properties, tenanting the properties, selling it to them for cash flow. They didn't have to do anything. Done for you. So being an active investor as vertically integrating renovations, property management, wow, there's a lot of things that can go wrong and do go wrong. Even a done-for-you rental property can be a second job. So when I thought I was giving them passive income and control over real estate, I realized that I was just giving them a second job. I tell people all the time, I compared my private money lenders to my turnkey investors. One of them was really happy getting passive income in the mail or via the wire transfer. The other one was going, Dani, I didn't know owning a rental property was going to require this much work. So I scaled back turnkey and now do commercial, and I serve passive investors.
You are not the first real estate investors on here. We'll talk about differentiated angles. First one is return on life versus return on investment. What's an example of a wealthy person who has a terrible return on life?
That is the person that's working all the time. They're unhappy. They might be in this keeping up with the Joneses thing. We all get paid more over time, and then we have that lifestyle creep. I feel like return on life is when work becomes optional. We call that the freedom number. The freedom number is just the amount of money and deployed capital that earns enough passive income to make work optional. That to me is return on life. For physicians, I co-authored a book with one of my investors, Dr. Baneet Shah. He said, the goal is to make medicine your side gig. I believe it, that what he said like mirrors what I say. I want everybody to get to the point where they're doing what they love because they have the choice every single day that they wake up.
You mentioned physicians, a lot of the audience. If someone already has enough, how do they know when they're playing the wrong game?
I'm going to compare two engines. We talk about this in the book. Engine number one is your active income, right? You have to show up every single day to earn your active income. Engine number two is your passive income. It allows you to wake up every single day and choose what you're going to do. It makes work optional. So I think when we think about enough, it comes down to that freedom number. Do I have enough passive income coming in that every day I wake up and I'm not necessarily paying attention to the ROI, which is what you make? I'm paying attention to my return on life, which is what the money provides for you, what makes life worth it. I think that's the answer to what is enough. And it's hard to understand or answer until you understand the two engines.
Moving into real estate, you're very passionate about it. My colleague and I were having lunch the other day. He holds real estate, but he's an entrepreneur. Real estate, he doesn't make much money from it. So he's talking about how doctors love the taxes, the depreciation, and he's saying he's never seen any tax benefits. He's like owning a small business is better. Why are you so passionate about real estate over stocks or owning a business?
I love real estate because I believe in the freedom formula: earn, keep, multiply, protect. When it comes to protection, something not talked about a lot is uncorrelated assets. A lot of people have their money in the stock market and CDs, bonds, especially right now. There's a lot of fear in the marketplace because of what's going on in the economy, the world, the wars. Unfortunately, their money is sitting in one basket that is completely and totally affected, and the money behaves the same way. What I mean by that, I compare it to a plane and a submarine. A plane in the sky is like the stock market. There could be a headline that's bad and the stocks go down. There's big storm in the sky. It's really volatile. You've got this turbulence going on. Then there's the submarine, which is real estate, that doesn't care if there was a bad headline. That doesn't care if there was a bad tweet. It doesn't care about any of that. Real estate, what's really important is that shelter is something that people always need. The type of real estate matters, but the type of real estate that you're investing in, I say all real estate is not created equal.
Along those lines, when you say all real estate is not created equal, why do you choose to focus on the B class?
Like I was saying in the plane and submarine, the real estate is the sub, right? Doesn't even know there's a storm going on in the market. If you're in the sub and you've got real estate, then it doesn't matter if you've got some in the plane, some in the sub, part of your money is protected, right? When you're in this sub, what exactly are you invested in the market? If things do get bad and you're an A class luxury, then if they're hurting, then they're going to move to B class, right? And the same thing goes true for B class, but B class is more workforce housing. So your nurses, teachers, your traditional blue collar type workers, but they're going to move down to C class. What I love about being in the middle is that when the economy's good, my C's are moving up to B's. And when the economy's bad, my A's are moving down to B's. So I'm sitting right there in the middle, and you just don't have a lot of the headaches that go with C properties, and you don't have a lot of the risks that go with A properties.
For someone listening to this, they're real estate investors. They get these annoying phone calls at 3 a.m. for petty things, and it's like not worth their time. They're not making much money. There's not much tax savings. What are they doing wrong?
We're going to go back to real estate and the earn, keep, multiply, protect. So I talk about protect a lot because risk balance is not something people think about always. They don't talk about uncorrelated assets and understanding to balance your risk between the plane and the submarine. That also has to do with 3 a.m. and the stress that goes along with it, right? Doesn't matter if you're earning 500,000 or 600,000. If you're deploying it in the wrong things or not deploying it at all because you've got fear, then you're in a really nice cushioned prison cell, right? And you have this stress and anxiety about money and what's going to happen and am I going to have enough? And it's not deployed. You just have all these racing thoughts, and you do wake up in the middle of the night because everybody has a family that they want to take care of and a legacy that they want to pass on. So those 3 a.m. nights for me are all about understanding how to approach risk balance, understanding how to develop that second engine so you've got the passive income. As soon as you reach a point where you're achieving that freedom number and you have a choice, everything changes. Baneet, the doctor who wrote the book with me, said it's not just burnout anymore, it's moral injury. Physicians who want to do the right thing but can't because they're pushed financially in the wrong direction. It's very hard to say, I'm going to order this test when you know you make more money from it. But when your family is where they need to be financially, you can just focus on doing the right thing. I think that did two things. It made you a better physician. It also gave you peace of mind because you're financially okay and you're taking care of your family. I'm not a physician, so I don't have the right to say that story. But Benit, when he said it, I was like, oh my gosh, that hit home to me. True freedom, not only in your personal life, but in your work too. I wanted to write it down in case I had the opportunity to share that.
Most physicians are great at making money, but terrible at growing it. You work 60-hour weeks while your savings sit in accounts earning basically nothing. NERP changes this. It's algorithmic trading designed specifically for busy professionals who don't have time to watch markets. AI-powered strategies that work while you're seeing patients. No day trading, no guesswork, just systematic wealth building designed for people with demanding careers. Built for physicians who want their money working as hard as they do. Check out start.nerp.com/doctors. That's start.nerp.com/doctors to learn more. Links in the show notes below. Note, NERP is a paid sponsor of this episode. All trading carries risk and results vary, so do your own research. This isn't financial advice. Moving on, the next thing is you go from being a landlord, which is not the most efficient way to make money in real estate, and you go passive. Why do some passive investments become more stressful than active businesses?
Why do passive investments become more stressful? I'm going to talk about operators. When you're investing passively, you lose control. My turnkey investors, they owned a rental property. It was theirs. They get to make the decisions. They can hire a property manager. They can manage it themselves. Every single decision is theirs. That's also what makes it a second job. It's not really that passive. However, if you are going to seek passive income, you're going to trust somebody else, right? In investing, I tell everybody it's all about trust. The entire game is about trust. You have to trust the operator because the operator can make a bad deal good and a bad operator can make a good deal bad. So you have to look at their track records. If you're experiencing stress about a passive investment, it could be lack of control and maybe passive investing is simply not for you. Or it could be that you didn't feel good about the due diligence you did beforehand and you didn't earn that trust or allow them to earn that trust by showing you their track record and what they've done, what they're investing in and why they believe in it. And I think that's just part of that upfront due diligence that you need to do anytime you invest with anybody.
What signals tell you when you're doing your due diligence that investment is going to be more time consuming than promised?
I don't think due diligence is ever going to take too much time. I think you have to have peace of mind before you invest. I believe in just start, but I don't necessarily believe in just start before you're ready. You do have to have that comfort level. And I think doing due diligence is important. But once you have the comfort level, you have to just start. Many times when I'm talking to people, I say, look, you've got millions of dollars. That's great. You know what? Start with 25,000 because that's what matters, right? That you trust the operator. And sometimes that trust is not just earned in the due diligence period, it's earned by actually experiencing the investment itself.
When you say just start, because a lot of the around the psychology of financial freedom, it's all about fears. You started in 2008. Basically, that was the great financial crisis. What fears were driving your decision in 2008?
In 2008, I didn't know what I didn't know, right? You can ask all the questions, but there might be a question you're simply not asking because you didn't know to ask it. And that's what experience gives you. During that time, I found a mentor, and I've done that in every single thing that I've done in life. From being a musician and trumpet player, I found a mentor. From being in real estate, I found a mentor. From being in the financial services industry, I found a mentor. I always just find somebody who's exactly where I want to be, and I learn from them because I need to borrow their mistakes and I need to borrow their experience and I need to lessen the amount of mistakes I make on my own. Of course, I'm still going to make mistakes. And anybody who says that they're not going to make mistakes or they didn't have a bad deal, that's a question you should ask in due diligence. Anybody who tells you they don't have those things is somebody that you should walk away from. There should be something in your gut saying, do not work with them, right? You want them to be honest and to say there's going to be bad things happen. And when bad things do happen, let me tell you what happened to the investor, what happened to the deal, what happened to my company. Those questions are so critical to taking that first step.
On the subject of risk, what's the worst real estate advice that everyone repeats?
Chasing a return. So many people are chasing 20%, 22%. We'll get on the phone. They're like, Dani, I'm getting 18%. What are you invested in? Who are you invested in? What is their track record? Have you talked to anybody who's been a part of what they've done and experienced a bad thing? Because bad things happen. And what happened when you chase that high return? You think, I'm so smart, I did something great, but there's actually less peace of mind because you went chasing for a number And that number, I would say 9 out of 10 times is something you don't end up achieving anyway. A lot of times syndications are going to talk about you're going to get a 6% preferred return and you're going to overcome this hurdle and you're going to get this waterfall and then this person get paid and you get paid and here's our projected returns. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't even understand it. And I've been in real estate for 18 years. It drives me crazy. So I think simplicity is really important when it comes to safety and stability and peace of mind, what you're investing in and how the structure is, investor alignment, who gets paid first. That's what's important to me. Is it predictable? Is it reliable? Are we aligned in our interests? Everything that we've done as a company has been that first. We pay our investors first. We get paid last. We have a payout history where when we had a bad deal, we've lost $70,000 on a duplex. And what happened to our private money lender? They got paid. We took the loss. Those are the stories you want to talk about because chasing the highest return, that's absolutely the worst mistake I think that I could come up with.
There's a couple of physician groups, I won't name them, but they got into trouble because they were saying like how easy a 1031 and rep status and lost a lot of money for their investors. They oversimplified everything. What investing advice do you strongly disagree with?
I disagree with active investing. Let me tell you why. I said before that if you're a control freak, if you need control, active investing is for you. If you're not that person, it's the mistake that people make over 50, 60, maybe 70% of the time. They're like, I tried this. It's not what I was. You lost time, money, opportunity to be doing other things that you actually love, that bring you joy, spend time with your family. That's the thing that people do over and over, and it's not talked about enough, and people aren't real enough to share the stories. I shout it from the rooftops because I don't know how many active investors I have that are passive investing now. So they're active investments.
Any characteristics where somebody would say, don't invest in real estate, or any characteristics where someone should avoid real estate?
Real estate, I say no, never. 100% of my capital is in real estate. I don't invest in anything else. Even businesses, I invest in real estate businesses. I believe in real estate. That's why I'm so passionate. But the only difference is active passive. You're going to want to be active if you want control. If you want to call me up and say, hey, I think you should paint the walls a different color, you're an active investor. You're not going to be happy being a passive investor. That's when it changes. But there's not enough people investing in real estate. I think that's the bigger mistake. We're in a world of AI right now. We cannot predict the future. We don't know how long we'll have our careers. We've watched stocks dive. Some of the most reliable stocks take a dive. I want my money. I want to be invested in the right assets in real estate.
This whole thing is about quality of life and financial freedom. Obviously, we're talking investments and accumulating. At the end of the day, we're all going to pass. When does wealth preservation become more important than wealth creation?
That's a personal decision. I listened to some podcasts. It's a married couple. One of them is okay with risk and the other one is not okay with risk. And they were trying to figure out how do they meet in the middle. Ultimately, they decided one of them had to move. Let's say the person that was conservative, if they were not okay with the investment, the other person had to be okay or invest on their own. They didn't even meet in the middle. They found that common ground. I say all of that to say every single person is different. I've talked to 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds who are on a mission to preserve capital, not grow it. I've talked to 50 and 60-year-olds who still want to grow their capital, not preserve it. I think it's a personal decision. At some point, I think you should be worried about protecting your capital. That's why I believe in the submarine, the uncorrelated assets, and making sure that part of your portfolio is invested in something where the money behaves differently depending on what's happening over the next 5 to 10 years.
I was telling my friend the other day, even though real estate is painful for him and you don't get good returns, you still need a portion of that just in case something else goes wrong. How can people connect with you and find out more about Freedom Family Investments?
2 places, depending on what you're looking for. If you want to have a conversation, go to chatwithfreedom.com, get on a call with our team and get some clarity about what we offer. If you want to dig into the framework and the book that Dr. Baneet Shah and I are now releasing, go to prosperity-rx.com. That's a companion app. You can log in and all the worksheets, the freedom number, all the tools, resources, everything is in there. You can read the book in there too. But if you want to buy the hardcover book, go to amazon.com. It will be released by the time this episode is released. So chatwithfreedom.com or prosperity-rx.com.
Thanks so much. I really enjoyed your passion and this conversation around real estate.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was wonderful to be here.
Let's zoom out. If you're a physician, founder, or high-income professional, and you feel like you're working harder every year, but not structurally freer, you're not alone. The mistake isn't effort, it's architecture. This show exists to help you convert expertise into scalable leverage faster and with fewer expensive missteps. Here's the diagnostic I mentioned before. If your income requires your constant presence, if your capital isn't compounding outside your profession, if your highest value talent is doing low value tasks, you don't have a growth problem, you have a leverage design problem. And if you want to fix it with clarity instead of guesswork, I offer a limited number of one-on-one leverage strategy sessions each month. We audit your income model, capital deployment, authority positioning, and structural bottlenecks, and design your highest return move. If you're serious about compressing years into months, the link to apply is below.